Hi YouTube, this is Timothy Unkert from unkertmedia.com here. In this video, I want to show you how to set up a Ruby development environment on your Chromebook. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is enable Linux. So what I can do is click on my applications here and search for settings, and then you'll see settings right there. On the left hand side, I can go to advanced. And then if I click on advanced, that'll open up these options here. And I'm going to click on developers. And then I'm going to turn on the Linux development environment. I'll click next. I'm going to keep the username that it supplies for me. I think that's based off your email. I'm also going to keep the recommended disk size, which can be modified at a later point. I'm going to click install, and that's going to take a few minutes to install. So I'll come on back when that's done. Okay, once the Linux development environment is installed, this terminal will pop up. You want to right-click this and pin to your shelf. I've already done that, but we're going to be using that as we program in Ruby here. I'm going to make this a little bit larger, and I'm going to right-click and change the settings a little bit. You can change the color if you'd like, and I'm going to change mine to light. We can do classic, solarized dark, solarized light, dusk, haze, and forest as well. Okay, so once I have this pop up, I'm going to type sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade. And I'm going to add a -y flag on the end, and that's just going to allow it to not ask me if I want to allow the extra space for the upgrade, which is typically very, very minimal. Okay, it's gone ahead and updated. One other thing I like to do is do sudo apt auto remove, and that's going to remove anything we don't need to do. I'm going to leave off the -y flag, and you'll see that's going to ask me if I want to have this amount of disk space freed. I'm going to say yes and hit enter. Okay, so now I'm going to do Control D to shut that or close that out, and I'm going to right click and shut down the Linux and then restart it, just to make sure everything takes effect. And to restart, I just clicked on the penguin there, and that's going to restart the terminal. Okay, once the terminal is restarted, let's open up a browser. And in the browser, I'm going to search for installing Ruby on Debian 11. And this first thing that comes up, I'll leave a link to this in the description. Just, it's a nice blog post. It's not mine. Someone else's. It talks about some things that you might need. So what we do need is a few extra things before we move to RVM. So I'm going to copy this line here under step 2, and this is going to install a few extra things we need to properly set up the Ruby, and RVM. Okay, so I've copied that with Control C. Now to paste that in, I'm going to do Control Shift V. But I'm going to prepend that with a sudo. Okay, so I'm going to do sudo, and then let me make sure I copy that, and then Control Shift V to paste it in, and I'm going to hit enter. Okay, and that's going to ask me to take a little bit of additional space. I'm going to say yes. Okay, and we're done with that. So now we can go to RVM. So I'm just going to Google RVM. And the Ruby version manager will come up. Okay, I'm going to click on that, and we're going to go down, and first we want to install the GPG keys. So I'm going to copy this line here. Make sure I copy the whole thing and do Control C for copying that. And then to paste that in, Control Shift V, okay, and hit enter. And that's going to go ahead. And now we can start to install RVM. Okay, so you can either just install RVM or install RVM with default Ruby and Rails. I'm going to do a programming tutorial on Ruby here, so we're just going to do the default. You can, of course, install Ruby on Rails as well if you want to do that. So I'm going to do Control C to copy that, and then I'm going to paste it in with Control Shift V here and hit enter. And that's going to go ahead and set up RVM. Okay, so that's set up, and now we have to be able to use it. You see, to start using, we have to run source, this source command here. So I'm going to copy this, And on this terminal, when I copy it, when I highlight it, it copies it automatically. Some other terminals you have to press Control-Shift-V or Control-Shift-C to copy it. Now that it's copied, I can paste it down here with Control-Shift-V. I'll hit Enter. Okay, so we're ready to install our Ruby version. Now the latest one available, if we list them out, which I've done previously, at the time of this recording is 3.0.0. So I'm just going to type rvm install 3.0.0 and hit Enter. And this is going to take a little bit of time, so I'll come on back when that's done. Okay, so that's gone ahead and installed Ruby. To check, we'll just do ruby-v, and we see we've got Ruby version 3.0.0. Awesome. Now we have to install either an IDE or a text editor to get going. There's many great ones. A couple of the paid ones are RubyMine and also Sublime Text. Those are great development environments, but a great free one that is new is the Pulsar Text editor. So what I'm going to do is open another tab, and I'm going to start to type Pulsar. So I'll search Pulsar Text editor. You might have seen the site come up in my address bar. You see Unkered Media, I've written an article on it. But anyways, the first thing that should come up is pulsar-edit.dev. I'm going to click on that. And that's going to bring me to their website. Okay. And what we can do here is we can go to download. And you'll see they have a rolling release here and a regular release. Now my Chromebook has a Pentium processor. So if you have AMD or Pentium, you can download this .deb file. And right now I'm going to cancel this because it's not the most recent version. So they haven't updated that yet on the site. Yesterday came out a new version. So to get that, what I'm going to do is go to the repositories. Now if you want whatever version is from the download, you could do that as well. But we want to be the most recent, so I'm going to go to the Pulsar repository on GitHub. And I'm going to go here and look for the releases on the right-hand side. We can see the latest release is version 1.104. Okay, so go down here, and I'm going to go and find the AMD64.deb file. That's the one I want. If you have an ARM Chromebook, notice they have an ARM 64.deb. I want the AMD one, so I'm going to download that, and that's going to go ahead and download. And you'll see here it says Show in Folder. It's going to download to the Downloads folder, but you can also click Show in Folder here. And I am going to right-click on this and click Install with Linux. That's going to go out and fetch a little bit of information. I'm going to click Install and OK. Okay, so that'll take a moment or two, and now you'll see it's installed. You can click Launch here, or you can find the icon in your Finder here. So we see we have the Pulsar icon. I'm going to right-click and pin it to my shelf here. And I'm going to close this out. Let's close out some of these windows here. And let's close this all out. And let's open this up. Okay, you'll notice that it will take a moment or two to open up the first time you open it up, and then it tends to get a bit quicker after you've opened it that first time. Okay, so I'm just going to expand this, and once I have it expanded here, I'm going to close this stuff out. You can turn off the welcome guide when opening Pulsar or just leave it open. I'm going to close that out and close this, and I'm going to do Control Comma. That'll bring up the settings. And in the settings, there's a couple things I want to do. First thing is I'm going to just go down here, and I'm going to get rid of the menu here because I use the command palette, Control-Shift-P, and that just seems to take up space. So I can go down here to title bar, change it from native to hidden, and it's going to ask me to restart Pulsar. I'm going to do that. Okay, so you notice Pulsar opens up. And the other thing I'll do is do Control Comma again and just go to themes and go from one dark to one light, as I think it'll record a little bit better for this tutorial. Now that the UI theme has changed. I'll change the syntax theme to one light as well. I'm going to close this out, and to close out Pulsar, I'll do Control Q. Okay, and I'm going to close it out because I'm going to open it from the command line. I'm going to do Control L to clear everything out here, and I'm going to make a directory, and we'll call this Ruby_lessons. Okay, I'm going to CD, change directory into Ruby_lessons, and I'm going to open the Pulsar text editor with Pulsar, a space, and a period. That's going to open the Pulsar text editor in the current directory. I'm going to go here and click on Ruby lessons, so it's highlighted, and just type A. That's going to be a lowercase a is a shortcut to make a new file. Uppercase A makes a new folder. And I'm going to just call this new file test.rb. Okay, you have to have the .rb extension for Ruby files. I'm going to just make my font a little bit larger with the control equals. And we're just going to test out our installation of Ruby. So I'm going to type puts, and in between double quotes, this is a test. I'm going to do Control S to save the file. And then I'm going to go here to bring back up my terminal. And to run the file, I'll type Ruby, and then I'll start to type the file and hit Tab to autocomplete it. So Ruby space test.rb. Let's run it. You see this is a test. So our Ruby installation is working just fine, and we have our environment up to do some Ruby programming. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, could you please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.